Rob was part of each audition, and he was living with her and soon to marry her, and he would obviously do better with her, wanting her to get the job. I mean, was I really the funniest one in the room when we were doing the improvs for all the suits?
After the deaths of Rob Reiner and his wife, Hollywood rushed to fill the silence with tributes, condolences, and non-stop court chatter, all desperate for answers that never seemed to land. Memorials rolled in, headlines clashed, and the industry tried to move forward without really looking back at what went wrong. But one person already knew what was hiding beneath the surface: Sally Struthers. She wasn't just a former co-star, she was Rob's quiet, safe place during the long nights behind the scenes of All in the Family. That's exactly why she stepped in to shut down the online rumors. What she revealed sent chills through Hollywood, and it lined up almost perfectly with what Tom Cruise has quietly confirmed, pushing speculation into something far more disturbing. Sally never planned to speak out. She showed up alone, no publicist, no notes, no prepared lines. When a reporter casually asked how she was holding up, she froze and whispered, "You don't know what he was living through." Then she looked up and said, "We failed him." In that split second, the story everyone believed completely fell apart. Her bond with Rob stretched over 5 decades. They spoke several times a week, sometimes deep into the night. But in his final months, something shifted. Rob began calling her after midnight, only to hang up seconds later when she pushed him to talk. When she finally confronted him, he snapped, "I can't talk long, he listens," and ended the call. That single sentence changed everything. 3 weeks before his death, Sally met Rob for lunch in Santa Monica. She said he arrived early, picked a corner table, and refused to sit with his back to the room. When his phone buzzed, he flinched so hard he knocked over his water glass. Sally asked, half joking, "Who's got you this scared?" Rob leaned in and said quietly, "If I say it out loud, it becomes real." Moments later, he added, "Promise me if something happens, you'll tell the truth." Sally admitted that promise is what finally broke her silence. What she described next flipped everything upside down. Sally said the house changed before Rob did. The Brentwood home was once loud with dinners, debates, and friends popping in unannounced. Then suddenly, no visitors were welcome. Rob demanded advance notice, even from people he'd known for decades. When Sally asked why, he snapped, "I need to know who's coming. I need time." She said it sounded less like hosting and more like preparing for danger inside his own home. The atmosphere turned suffocating. Sally walked in one afternoon and noticed every blind pulled shut, even though it was barely noon. When she reached for one, Rob grabbed her wrist and whispered, "Please don't." In the kitchen, Michelle kept her voice low, like the walls could hear. At one point, Sally overheard raised voices upstairs. Nick shouting, demanding money, accusing his parents of cutting him off. Rob tried to calm him down, saying, "Lower your voice." Nick fired back, "Or what, you'll call the cops on your own son?" The warning signs were impossible to ignore after that. Rob later showed up to a charity meeting wearing a long-sleeved shirt in August. When a colleague joked about the heat, Rob forced a tight smile and brushed it off with, "Doctor's orders." The laugh didn't land. Days later, Sally noticed bruising near his wristwatch, faint but impossible to ignore. When she asked what happened, he answered way too fast. "Stairs, I'm clumsy now." His hands were shaking while he said it, like his body was giving away what his words wouldn't. Not long after, Michelle quietly admitted to Sally that she had started locking her bedroom door at night. "I hate that sound," she said under her breath. Footsteps in the hallway. What once screamed success and safety had turned into confinement. The gates didn't keep danger out anymore. They trapped fear inside. Then came the moment that blew the story wide open. According to Sally, Cruise went to the Reiner home last November, supposedly to talk about a future project. What he walked into was something way darker. Raised voices echoed through the hallway. Michelle was crying, Nick was pacing back and forth, heated, demanding access to money that had been locked away. Cruz reportedly stepped between them. When Nick lunged forward and snapped, "You don't get to control me anymore," the room went dead silent. Later, Cruz described Nick's energy to a close associate in chilling detail. His eyes were empty, he said. No hesitation, no shame. That same afternoon, Cruz pulled Rob into the backyard, away from the house and out of earshot. He didn't sugarcoat. "You are in danger here," he told him. "This isn't manageable anymore. You need distance tonight if possible." Rob shook his head, clearly rattled. "He's sick," he replied. "If I turn my back now, I lose him forever." What came next was an offer most people wouldn't even hesitate to take. Cruz offered to pay for an elite rehabilitation facility overseas, fully secured, fully supervised. "I'll handle everything," he insisted. Rob thanked him but declined. "If I force him," Rob said quietly, "he'll never forgive me." Sally later said that sentence shattered her when she heard it. Rob still believed forgiveness could reach places fear already owned. In the weeks after that confrontation, Cruz stayed in touch, pushing Rob to reconsider. Text messages showed growing urgency. "Please take this seriously," one read. Rob's replies kept shrinking. "We are managing. It's calmer now. He promised me." Each message sounded like hope, bargaining with reality. In the final night, the same pattern played out. Rob didn't call police, he contacted a private security firm, asking for someone to help calm things down. According to call logs, he downplayed everything. He never said he was afraid, he never said lives were at risk. Sally believes that choice sealed the outcome. Even then, her voice breaking, she said he was still trying to protect his son from consequences. Tom Cruise reportedly learned of the deaths and went completely silent with friends. Later, he said one sentence that still haunts everyone involved. "I warned him and he chose love." That warning now stands as the moment everything could have changed and didn't. And yet, this still isn't the end. The final truth Sally Struthers revealed is the one Hollywood has spent decades refusing to face. She said the danger wasn't hidden because no one saw it. It was hidden because too many people chose not to name it. Sally made that clear. Agents noticed Rob's sudden cancellations. Lawyers saw strange financial movements. Doctors treated injuries without pushing for answers. Every silence stacked on the next until the truth became untouchable. People knew something was wrong, Sally said bluntly. They just didn't want to be the one to say it out loud. She revealed a private phone call with a longtime industry executive, urging her to stay quiet. "This will destroy everything people believe about him," the voice warned. Sally fired back, he was being destroyed. While some protected an image, another so-called friend suggested spinning it as a family tragedy instead of violence. Sally refused without hesitation. Tragedy doesn't leave fingerprints, violence does. Investigators were later stunned by patterns no one challenged: repeated emergency room visits logged as accidents, sudden financial transfers to intermediaries, emails asking for patience instead of intervention.
Sally disclosed that Rob Reiner once confided in her after a legal consultation. "They told me to document everything," he said bitterly. "I told them I don't want a case. I want my son back." That choice shut doors that may have saved his life. Michelle Reiner's role also came into focus. She wasn't passive, she was drained. Sally revealed Michelle once asked a therapist whether parents could be legally protected from their own adult children. The answer was careful, procedural, slow. "By the time the system moves," Michelle reportedly said, "we'll already be gone." Sally said that sentence never left her mind. The most disturbing realization came after the deaths. When police rebuilt the timeline, the violence followed a familiar cycle: apology, reassurance, pressure, escalation. Sally was firm. "This wasn't impulsive," she said. "He knew when to be calm. He knew when to wait." Investigators reportedly uncovered messages showing arguments deliberately started during isolation, when outside help was least likely to step in. Hollywood's refusal to name it became part of the harm. Domestic violence was whispered away as mental health issues or family breakdown. Sally rejected that language completely. If Rob were a woman, she said, we wouldn't hesitate to call this what it was. Her words hit hard because they forced a truth many didn't want to face. Power, wealth, and fame don't shield men from abuse, and they don't excuse silence. By speaking out, Sally didn't rewrite Rob's legacy, she clarified it. His final act wasn't weakness, it was love pushed past reason. He wasn't thinking like a director or a public figure, he was thinking like a father who believed patience could still win, a belief that cost him everything. The industry may struggle with that reality, but Sally made it impossible to ignore. Rob Reiner didn't die as a symbol, he died as a human being, and that truth can no longer be buried. Sally Struthers broke the silence when it was already too late to save him. What remains now isn't a legend or a headline, but a truth, forcing us to look closer at lives we think we understand as the investigation continues. One question still hangs in the shadows. How many warnings does love ignore before it turns fatal? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, subscribe, and support Silent Stardom for more deep dive stories you won't hear anywhere else.